So I've been thinking about making this episode or this video or this little snippet of sharing my voice and my story during the time that I've been kind of behind the scenes and taking a step back. I am pregnant. I have been pregnant. I'm currently on my 7th month, and yeah, it's been an interesting journey. There's been a lot of things that I've learned so far regarding pregnancy, regarding what to do for myself, how to take care of myself during this time, and obviously, what you decide to do during your term of pregnancy is up to you. Because every person is different, everybody's capacity for things is going to be different, and you cannot predict. I could not predict that I would be acting and interacting the way that I am now because of being pregnant. So, I mean, that's with anything, with everything that I say. It's always like you have to know what works for you. You have to know what vibes with you, what resonates with you, what doesn't, and just act in the most authentic way that you can for yourself, right? As long as you have peace of mind and a peace of heart, that's really what matters, in my opinion. Sometimes just because trying to do things to please other people can sometimes come at the cost of losing ourselves, losing our peace, and losing our just what we stand for. And with that being said, some things that I've learned is that I need to hydrate a lot. From the moment that I found out that I was pregnant, I didn't really change how much water I was drinking. And that was a big mistake. I needed to make sure that I drank at least, I guess, half a gallon at least for sure a day. And I used to do a good job at that. And the reason why you have to drink at least half a gallon is because you're building blood for your baby now. You're building blood for your placenta. And obviously, blood is a liquid, and you need water to be able to create that liquid. So not only is blood being created through the different vitamins and minerals and just things that you have in your body, but you also need that water to help create that blood for your placenta, for your baby, to create the cardiovascular system, and to also create that amniotic fluid where your baby's going to be swimming around for the remainder of its journey in your womb, or in the womb period. So you need a lot of water. If you don't have enough water, your blood pressure will drop. I learned that one the hard way, but it's okay. We're here, we're better, we're drinking water. I also, during my pregnancy, received a lot of dreams. I actually had to take a step back on my spiritual practices. I could not hold the same space that I could before when it came to card readings, energy healings, even astrology interpretation. I can't even walk into a store with spiritual items. It's too overwhelming for me right now during this stage. But there's other women that when they were pregnant, it just helps them tap into it more to the point where they are better at doing card readings, where they are better at doing energy healings, right? And there's other women like myself that when you are pregnant, it's like, no, that's too much. I need to retreat and just take care of me, right? And that was my case. So I haven't been able to do some things that I would usually do to help me center, like read cards for myself, pull cards for myself, attend spiritual events. I haven't been able to do yoga personally. That's because even though I do love yoga, I don't have a consistent daily practice for yoga. It was more on and off. Sometimes it would be more gentle, sometimes it would be more strenuous with hot yoga or just regular yoga at my house on YouTube. And whenever I would try to do yoga now that I'm pregnant, the few times that I try to do yoga, I hurt myself. So now instead of doing yoga, I just think about just doing stretches and just breathing with the stretches, and just changing that terminology has worked for me. And I also have started, thanks to the recommendation of a beautiful friend of mine. I'm gonna shout her out, Natasha. Lady Soy. She's just reminded me that I can utilize those stretching moments to really connect with the baby, to connect with my reproductive organs, with my pelvic bowl, with all of that in my body down there that's gonna help me give birth, to just be more intentional with it. And like, I've realized too that this pregnancy journey is not necessarily a time to kind of finish off what I need to finish off. Like, things that I've needed to let go of, things that I've needed to close up in my life, have already started to do that before I was pregnant. I had taken a step back with my business and the offerings, and I kept going back and forth on what to do. I didn't know what to do. And I think collectively, a lot of people also felt that way, with the shift in Pluto, with the shift in a bunch of different planets, with what's happening collectively, with what's happening on a social scale, spiritual scale, all the scales, right? Like, a lot of people have had to take a step back and really look at themselves in the mirror. It's like, what do I stand for? Like, what do I want to provide for myself? And what do I want to provide to the community? What do I want to do to be of service to other people? And what do I want to do to devote a practice to myself, right? Like, and it's like those four different things, right? Like, what is it that I need, that I can and need to do for others? And what is it that I can and need to do for myself? And like, putting those in different categories has been a journey that I've been navigating for the past 2 years prior to me being pregnant. And it was in preparation of my pregnancy, because during the pregnancy, it's not time to wrap things up in a bow. During the pregnancy, it's time to connect with this baby. It's time to really finalize letting go of those things that have been slowly dwindling down, or slowly, being put aside, so that way I can make space for this new life that's coming. I can make space for this new being that's coming. I can make space for this new version of myself. Like, I'm switching from a maiden to a mother, right? Like, full on. And it's been beautiful to see how, at first, probably 3 years ago, I started to get frustrated because I was like, I feel stuck with my business. I feel stuck with my Vibes del Alma stuff. If you've been following me, you know that I had like a time where I was like at peak, where I was going to a bunch of markets, where I was doing events, I was really hustling, I was doing things, and it was great. And all of a sudden, things started to just kind of like slow down, and I got frustrated at that point with myself. And I'm not sure if I really shared this or not. And I was like, why is nothing clicking anymore? And then slowly, I started to, instead of just put things out to the community, put things out for other people, try to hold events, try to hold spaces for others, I started to go to places so I could be held in that space, so I could receive that healing. And in that came sound baths that I would go to. In that came me experimenting, right, with different practices, with different events, with different rituals and ceremonies that I've been thinking about doing for a while, so I can finally go through them, I can finally experience them. Such as plant medicine or animal medicine, such as sound baths and sound journeys, such as women-filled events, right? Taking courses. I took a lot of courses, and I can go into a whole rant about courses as well, which I might go into that. But I also ended up going on this journey of womb healing, and realizing that as a womb bearing person, as a woman, like, there is this beautiful infinite space that I have in the womb, on top of this beautiful infinite space that we all have in our heart. And this womb is a golden thread that connects us to all of our ancestors from our past. And through different people that have come across my journey, which I'll shout them out as well, right? The very, very first one I would think and I would want to say is Ariana from here in Florida. I know her business has just rebranded. She was formerly known as the Canasses, and now she has a business called Vija Botanica. She would sell, and still does, yoni steams, yoni blends to heal your womb and do yoni steaming. And I went to one of her workshops that she held in Mount Dora, in an amazing store with spiritual items and spiritual resources. And she really helped me connect with what yoni steaming was and what that practice really looked like. In tandem of me going to one of her events and continuing to purchase her yoni steaming blends to do yoni steaming at my home, I had taken a mentorship, right, with the Sacred Woman School under Mali. And she had split up this mentorship into 3 different portions. The first one was about womb wisdom, womb healing, womb divination, and it was a 9-week immersion, which is beautiful because, 9 months, 9 weeks, that number 9 really does something for women. And a lot of times practicing with that number 9 to just kind of really be able to put yourself in a cocoon and be reborn into something afterwards it's really magical for anybody, because we're all just stated in those 9 months, and that number 9 is nice. I wouldn't speed it up and do something in 9 days. The fastest that I think would be appropriate for someone to really sit down with a practice and go into a cocoon and kind of be reborn would be 9 weeks. Just because sometimes, especially in this society, we're really obsessed with trying to do things really fast. And I've tried to do rituals in the fast version, I guess, and I've also done them in a little bit more lengthy of a time, and it's always more fruitful when I take my time with it. And that's just what I've experienced. Obviously, what you experience is yours. You experiment with like the 9-day versus the 9-week versus the 9-month period, right? So all of that together led me down this kind of journey of really healing my womb space, healing my reproductive organs, which are also the sexual organs, but in school, you only talk about the reproductive aspect of these organs. Whenever you're talking about science and anatomy, very rarely do they talk about the fact that these organs are dual purpose, right? The things that help us, which I've been finding out during this pregnancy, which is pretty freaking cool. The things that help me give birth, the exercises that I need to do to help me give birth, are also exercises that can help me have better orgasms, can help me have a better sex life. So I'm really excited to continue utilizing what I've been learning for birth and for pregnancy, and taking it outside of my pregnancy and trying it out to see how it would improve my relationship with my partner, with my husband. So I'm smiling from side to side because it's just like, wow, like that's something that, I feel like all women know, obviously, subconsciously, maybe to one extent, maybe not consciously per se, that like your reproductive organs are also the sexual organs. But like, who would know that the same things that you would do to help you give birth are the same things that can help you have a better sexual life? So that's just a beautiful thing that I've realized. So anyways, by me healing my relationship with my womb, by me healing the ancestral stuff that I've been going through there, with yoni steaming, with womb clearings, womb activations, visualization, energy stuff, It's been nice. And then like from that I connected to Mary Magdalene, and then what it means to be that sexual priestess or that maiden self, and just learning more about her story and her relationship with Yeshua and what Magdalena is, who Magdalena is, what this energy stands for. And then all of this brought me back to Mother Mary, or the Virgin Mary. And it's been beautiful for me to see this kind of like full circle of things that I used to think when I was a child, 6 years old, in Catholic school, or going to church school, and like all these questions that I had in my mind that I never asked out loud because I was very observant, I was very quiet. And then me learning about Mary Magdalene, me learning about Jeshua, me learning about Mother Mary, or Virgin Mary, the Queen of the Universe. Like all of these things that I used to wonder about and ask about in my childhood have just been answered, and then I've created a beautiful relationship with them over the past year and a half. And it goes back and forth, like it fluctuates. Sometimes I'm like vibing with Mary Magdalene, sometimes I'm vibing with Mother Mary. Right now through the pregnancy, I've realized that Mother Mary has been more in the forefront, and Mary Magdalene's also there side by side. It seems like Mary Magdalene and the goddess Isis, with me, I've been seeing how they help me with creating this beautiful belt of protection around my womb space and the baby. And Mother Mary, and I guess you could say Hathor, have been able to help me connect with my heart space. And then I think of like Goddess Sekhmet, who's here to protect the baby and give childbirth. And then I think of Goddess Diana, who's the goddess of childbirth in the Roman pantheon. And I also think of my honorable ancestors, and just my ancestors, period, right? Like on my side and now on the father's side for this baby, they're all rooting for the baby. They're all excited for this baby. This baby has her own entourage of ancestors that are here helping her out and protecting her. And I realized that a lot of the things that I'm going through, to kind of go inwards, to kind of be protected, to kind of not put myself out in a spiritual space where I can't handle. It's more for me than it is for the baby. Like a lot of things, like the prenatal vitamins, it's not, yes, it would help the baby, but it's more so to help me, because the baby is going to take whatever the baby needs from my body, physically, energetically, emotionally. I need to fuel myself. I need to fill my cup. Like I have to fill my cup to fill this baby's cup. And if I don't fill my cup, the baby's still gonna fill its own cup regardless. So that's something else that I've realized. Like the vitamins are for me so I don't feel bad, so I don't get a headache, so I don't get any type of sickness feeling. The water's for me so my blood pressure doesn't drop while the baby's creating its own network of blood in my placenta. Me pulling back from spiritual practices is so I can be protected and I don't have anything attaching itself to me, because I'm in a more vulnerable space. Me praying and me connecting with Mother Mary is a way to continue protecting myself. Me honoring my ancestors is a way to also continue to protect myself. Me taking a step back from social media and not posting so much about myself is so that way I'm not entering into spaces or things are entering into my space. Like it's, for me, being pregnant has made me pull back a lot. And in that pulling back, I've realized some things that I definitely am okay with letting go, and I realized some things that I'm definitely not okay with letting go. Like cards are never leaving my life. I miss them so much, and I'm so excited to go back and to start reading cards for myself again, at least. But something that's been beautiful and that's changes my relationship with dreams. Like my dreams are a lot more vivid, they're a lot more prophetic. I've been getting a lot of guidance as to what I can and cannot do, or should not do during my pregnancy through my dreams, and it's been very beautiful to see some of the characters, spirits, guides that come, I recognize. Like the very first dream that I had where I was like, okay, this is my practice now. My spiritual practice is not cards anymore, it's not going to events, it's paying attention to my dreams. It was when I had a dream of my great grandmother, Honorable Mama Juana. She came to my dream. She literally grabbed my hand in my dream, pulled me to the kitchen, and was like, Ashley, tienes que empezar a cocinar. Like, she said this in Spanish, like, you have to start meal prepping. You have to meal prep. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to. I'm tired. She's like, es que no tienes opción. It's like, you don't have an option. You have to meal prep. You have to feed your body. You have to feed this baby. Don't argue with me. Meal prep. That was it. That was the dream. And the next morning, I told my husband's like, I've been telling you to meal prep. So let's meal prep right now. So then I've been doing a better job at meal prepping. And I have to meal prep. If anybody knows me, there's habits that I used to have with what I would eat. And they no longer sustain me. So meal prepping has been beautiful. My diet has changed because of the fact that I am needing different nutrients to sustain myself and to sustain this baby. I had another dream, just talking about dreams, right? Where like I could not take any ounce of alcohol in my body. And I'm not saying that I would drink, right? Technically, right? If you talk to some sort of professional or some sort of whatever, like you could, if you wanted to, drink up to 6 ounces of wine a day. You really could. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying that it's passable. And don't quote me. Do the research yourself. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I love flower essences. I love them so much. I love working with flowers, and I get my flower essences from a website called Lotus Way. It feels my heart, and that just works for me, right? That's just what works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but I love them so much. To the point where like I've been wanting to start learning about how to work with flowers myself. But I don't need to, I can just continue supporting Lotus Way. And they have a little bit of alcohol in their elixirs. They also have a lot of honey, but they have alcohol. I've also made myself tinctures of flowers to start practicing how to make them for myself. And I can't drink any of that because all of that has alcohol. I made all of that. I made the tinctures before I knew that I was pregnant. And I can't buy elixirs because they have an alcoholic content. So now I know that even though elixirs have been great, I have to wait until after I give birth to go back to that practice. Like, no ifs and buts. I'm not playing with what my dreams are telling me. No alcohol means no alcohol. So I have to work with flowers and with herbs in a different way. Another dream that I had received was about not being able to pull cards. And this one, there's this old man that I dream about every now and then. I can't make up his face. I can't make up who he is. But it's this sweet, old, wise man. He doesn't look like he's like ancient. He looks like, he's wearing like a cardigan. He has like a little belly. He's like not obese, but he's fed. He's well fed. Anyway, so this man showed up and it was like, you can't do cards. Like, you cannot. And then I was like, why not? And then like in the dream, something happened where it was like, I got the clear message that I cannot open a card deck for myself or for other people, even for myself, period. I could get a card reading from somebody else, but I have to be very picky and very particular as to who I go and get a reading from. And it can't even be from my husband, who sometimes like if I ask him, he'll pull a card for me. Like, it can't even be from him because we're so intertwined, right, during this pregnancy, and just with each other's lives. So that's been something that's been hard to swallow, that I'm ready to go back to. And something that I've been realizing is, yoga, I have had an on and off relationship with yoga, just because it's not something, like, I do enjoy it and it does make me feel good, but it's not something that ignites my soul like how dancing has. I remember I used to dance a lot when I was in college. I've gone to dancing classes every now and then. They're just kind of like far. They're farther away from me. Um, so it's more convenient for me to try to do a yoga practice because it's like 10 minutes down the road versus me trying to do a dance exercise practice, which is like 40 minutes down the road, right? Well, it's not really down the road at that point if it's 40 minutes. So that's been something that I've been navigating, that it's like, like what really does inspire me to move is dance. And that's for me. I freaking love dancing. I had a dream where like I missed salsa, bachata, and dancing, all of that. And I was like, I need to come back to dancing. I need to do this again. Like that's how I have gotten my exercise before. I used to do Zumba. I used to do like the Caribbean dances when I was in college. I used to have a Wii and I had all of the Just Dance versions. And sometimes when I wanted to work out, I would do this thing with the Just Dance game where you would select 3, 6, 9 songs in a row, and they would just go back to back to back. So I would like really literally cater my own dancing workout. Like one to warm up, one to get my heartbeat going, one to like get it to its highest point, one to kind of cool down a little bit, one to get my heartbeat going again, and one to like cool down. So like I would do that, and I realized that I need to go back to that after I gave birth, to just kind of like get moving again. So this time of pregnancy has been very helpful for me to reflect. And I've also been a lot more particular as to who I talk to and who I don't talk to. And I'm not saying that whoever I talk to or whoever I don't respond to, like, they're like horrible people. I'm just saying, like, I really do have to feel comfortable. Like, the people that I've been talking to are people that I've known for years. People that I know that if I say something wild, like, they'll be like, Ashley, I know you, so I will not judge you for this out loud, maybe in my mind, but not out loud, right? Like, it's like a different container that's held in the space when you've had a relationship with someone for like at least 6 years. Like, those are the people that I'm more comfortable talking to at this point. Just because I don't feel like I have to be guarded in any way, and that I know that I can be supported. So all of this just to say, like, I have been taking a step back, and I have taken a step back. I am not sure if I'm gonna be posting this on YouTube before I give birth or after I give birth. But I did want to talk about my journey with being pregnant and what that has looked like, just because I feel like not a lot of people sometimes share their pregnancy journey. And when you look up pregnancy journeys on YouTube, it's very scientific, and that's great. But something that I've also found is that, like, what works for me is what works for me. Obviously, I'm not going to be here and doing things that I know for a fact are not good for me while I'm pregnant. But at the same time, like, we all come from different ancient lineages. We all come from different cultures. There's different things that different people have done to prepare during their pregnancy to welcome this new life and this new baby, this new version of yourself, this new version of your family. Which also, on a side note, I've had dreams that have shown me, like, have helped me realize what I need to focus on first and foremost, period, point blank, period. And I've also received beautiful messages when the dream world, in tandem with people saying random things in the physical world, to help me understand what some of the dreams that I've had mean for me. Like, for example, I had this recurring dream of me giving birth, but like when I gave birth, the sign for me to give birth wasn't my water breaking, it was my menstrual period. And I was pregnant, and then I was like, oh, I'm menstruating, that means I'm about to give birth now. And I had that like 3 times. I wasn't freaking out. I was very calm during my dream. I knew everything was safe, everything was fine, like there was nothing wrong. And then this is why it's so important for you to learn how to interpret your own dreams, because your dreams are a conversation with your subconscious in yourself. Anybody can tell you what they think, anybody can tell you whatever, but at the end of the day, it's you who can only interpret your dreams, and you're the one that knows what the symbolism means for you. So, anyways, I'm saying this because to me, I've always thought that after I give birth, I know that I'm back to being able to be full on myself the moment I start menstruating again, right? Like, I give birth, and then I'm not gonna be menstruating for I don't know how many months until my body gets reacclimated to not having a baby, until my hormones get recalibrated to now becoming a different version of myself, right? After having done the pregnancy, having done the birth. And once I menstruate, that means that my body is back to its circadian rhythm or whatever that rhythm is. When I'm menstruating, that means my body is back to be mine, right? Fully mine. And then I remember this beautiful, amazing medium, psychic medium, Modern Sybil is what she goes for or what she goes by. She had told me that, just like we were talking about being mothers and pregnancy, and she told me that the moment she knew that she can go back to spiritual practices was when she menstruated again. That was a code that she had with her own spiritual team. Like when she menstruates, she can go back. And then like at one point it clicked. I was like, oh my God, I've been having dreams that when I give birth, I menstruate. So then at that moment, I was like, okay, so when I give birth, I can go back to my spiritual practices, at least for myself. And then just see how it goes for a month, 2 months. Because sometimes something that's helped me feel better is actually provide services for other people, right? So the moment I realized that, the dreams of me menstruating to give birth stopped. And I was like, okay, heard. I got you. I understand. So it's things like that like I've really had to utilize all of the things that I've learned during the past 5 years. Actually, I have gone through ceremonies and rituals that have taught me how to stay cool under chaos, that have taught me how to come back from a panic attack, that have taught me how to stay centered during a time when I'm in pain or I'm extremely uncomfortable. That they have taught me to navigate the waves. And in one of these different situations, I remember in one of the retreats that I went to, where we did ceremonies and rituals, I was told over and over again, you're ready to be a mom. And this was 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure, maybe 3, I don't know. I have to think back at the year. And even last year, I was taking a mentorship about how to be more of a priestess, how to be better at creating ceremonies for myself and for the community, whether it's for birth, for postpartum, for any transition in your life, whatever that might be, including death, right? And I remember during this training, which was back at the end of 2023, till January 2024, I remember in that training, I knew and I was told by my spiritual team that I'm going to get pregnant within a year and I'm going to be giving birth within that next year. And I was like, nope, I'm not ready. So then my spiritual team was like, okay, then you have a window of this next year up until 3 years from now. And at that point, like I relaxed a little bit more. I felt more calm about it. I was like, okay, I can do the window. I can do the time frame. And obviously here we are. I got pregnant within the year, like how they told me. And the other beautiful thing is that, like, something that I also wanted to share is that my baby, the spirit of my baby, has been with me for a while. The spirit of my baby has been with me since the end of 2022. And I know she's been with me. And I've known she's a girl. And I've known her name this whole time. I've known what she looks like. I've had dreams about her now that are more vivid about how she looks like as a baby, how she's gonna be like as a baby, how she's gonna be like as a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old. My husband, bless his heart, he's also had dreams about her, how she's gonna be like when she's a baby, when she's a child, when she's a teenager. Like, we've had these dreams, and his dreams and the way he describes her match with my dreams and the way that I see her. So this little baby's been with us, waiting for my husband and I to be in a space where we're anchored in who we are, we're anchored on what we can provide, we're anchored on being the best parents that we can be in the best time for divine timing, right? So pregnancy has been interesting for me. And one last thing that I wanted to share about pregnancy is that at the very beginning of my pregnancy journey, like during that first month to the first trimester, especially in that first month, I realized that a lot of the things that I was saying about me being pregnant and the experience that I had with pregnancy was not true. Like, I was not feeling in the best way about my pregnancy journey. I was kind of fighting the fact that I was pregnant. I didn't have morning sickness. I actually had a really beautiful pregnancy this whole time. But then I realized that it was because I was repeating the phrases and the stories of my ancestors. And during this first trimester, I worked a lot with family constellations. So I'll give another shout out to Maria Elena Obranek in the Orlando area. She's Venezuelan. She does sessions in English and Spanish for family constellations and for astrology. And she helped me a lot during that first trimester to really start separating the things that I was afraid of, the things that I was complaining about, the things that I didn't feel happy about regarding pregnancy and being pregnant and becoming a mother, and how they were really never my experience. So she helped me reclaim what it was for me to be pregnant. And now the second trimester and the third trimester, like the way that I navigate being pregnant, the way that I talk about being pregnant is so different than during that first 1 to 2 months. So if you're listening to this and you have resistance to being like a mom or being pregnant, or you have fears or whatever, right? I would give unsolicited advice right now and suggest to try family constellations and see like where this is coming from. Because some of the things that I was afraid about are not even my own. They're so far out there that it's like, I don't even know why I thought about this crazy scenario. Turns out, down the line of my ancestry, somebody had something like that happen, or somebody knew of someone that it happened to them, and then here I am trying to clear that from my womb, from my being, from my space, so that way I can have my own experience and my own journey with pregnancy. So yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that, and I hope that whoever's listening to this has at least gained one nugget of wisdom, has at least gained one piece of knowledge, has been at least empowered to reclaim their female journey or their pregnancy journey for themselves, or at least something clicked, right? So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, your evening, great rest of your week or weekend, wherever it is that this little voice podcast thing is reaching you. And yeah, until next time.